It is time for episode 4. Okay, we are back. So I guess we'd start with the Marl opening chapter. Looks something like this. And that's where you mostly start if you jump in. We're going on a journey to a lot of places today. We're going to talk about the intro chapter again, prehistory. Then 2300, then the Vision Serpent. Same thing we did before, but faster and less confusing. Okay, so you begin as Princess Nadia. Which is fitting because I didn't know this, but there was kind of a meme about how she was the most common plot device used in Chrono Trigger. So
let me just do it a quick refresh.
Speed run.
Oh no, that one's not as close as I thought. Okay, so that one, Marl's name is going to be Plot. P-L-O-T.
Good job. Okay, any special capitalization?
No, just capital P.
Okay.
I know that a lot of people were wanting her to be named Plot because she's like the crux of the whole run. She's the reason this game happens.
And then they go on to discuss.
Alright, so as soon as we meet Marley, we need to talk.
Device, Marl. Puexel calls her Marley. Puexel doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to stir up a good old-fashioned rivalry with Puexel, who I have a para relationship. He doesn't know I exist. He doesn't know about me. if you don't know someone, but you're affected by them, you have a para relationship. Pooh Exile. I don't really know him that well. I do watch a lot of his speed runs, though. He's very, at least in the commentary ones, I really enjoy it. I really prefer the commentary during a speed run, which is totally hard to do unless you have a couch, I imagine, or I don't really know. I don't speed run anything. Actually, I do play Dead Cells quite a lot, which brought me to a lot of the ideas for this game that I was talking about. You know how like Dead Cells you run through and you know you repeat a loop. Okay, let's talk about time gates for a minute. Just got my time gate graphic. Okay, so here we have a record of fate. Here we have a time gate. That'd be weird if they were so close to each other. It doesn't feel right. I'm going to put the time gate on a different background. Nah, we'll just leave it here. Here's another one. But the animation did not. It's supposed to be animated. And here is the last time gate graphic that we have. Just like the blue one, but red. So that would be a closed red time gate. Open, closed. Okay, so I don't like the look of those time gates there. I'm going to get rid of those. But they're there for later. Where is my pictures? Where's my pictures? Let's talk about all the pictures we're going to talk about today. And yes, my friends, we are talking about this one today. Straight up Massa Boys. That's what I call them. Because they all use the Massa Moon. Okay, so that's Massa Boys. And why are we talking about them today? Well, we're not quite there yet. There is a little bit more we have to do. So, if we watched the backstory episodes, then you were brought up to the Princess Nadia start. And I'm really trying to start us off there. Let's get rid of the Massa Boys for a minute. I'm just going to get rid of all these time gates too. Nope. I'm going to be patient. I can get rid of this. I like to really have a clean board as I move through. We got today's episode. We got the snapshot. We got the notes. Okay, let's do some notes. All right. Let's go to a different background for notes. Moving on to the next background. Oh my gosh. Yo. It's time for the Chrono Meditations. Oh, that's got the old spelling, which is fine. I like both spellings. Which spelling do you prefer? Do you like Chrono Break, E-A-K, or this one, Chrono Break, with a A-K-A? What one do you like? All right. No, notes. Where did my notes goes? What is it, man? I lost my note. That's not it. This is harder than I thought. Okay. Notes are in effect. Right now. Cool. There's actually nothing on these notes. Let's put the things in the notes. Good evening. Welcome. We're putting the notes together. Tonight, we're going to talk about we're not talking about tone. We did that. Oh, some style. Let's do some style. Here's the cast list. I think we can make this small. And this can be small too. Down here? I think down there is good. What happened to my... Perfect. All right. Let's do this next one. So... Perfect. Here is a chrono trigger. Time egg. Is this music not playing? Okay, now we got some music. But we should put the credits on for the music. Okay. That's how you do it. Okay, we got the chrono egg up there. What's going on? How's everyone doing tonight? What do you guys want to hear about? And we can put this up here. This is pretty dope. Woo. Okay. So we start at the regular Guardia Forest. Here it is. Boosh. You know what? I think we got to do it on a different window. Here. Come back to that. Perfect. Start. Oh no, not that one. This one. All right. And the music credits. Sweet. And you start with Princess Nadia. How will Shala interact with the party? Great question. All right, let's go back. Whoop. 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 What is... Okay, that's fine. All right, let's pull up the Shala notes. Good question, good question. Go. Dude, seriously? Working on it. Sorry about that. Hey, what's up, Shala? How you doing? Hello. Okay, here we go. So basically what happens is when you go to the break, you defeat the Vision Serpent, and that creates a split. The Vision Serpent splits with the Fate, and that creates a thing called the Warring Dyad. So after you recruit Shala, you encounter Shala in a part of the break that resembles 1999, where you get the weird ending video from Chrono Cross. Like, Chrono Cross had the weirdest ending video. Where is that video? Erg. At any rate, Shala's just like a... Let's see, here are the notes. Boop, boop, boop. Getting to... notes. Perfect. Zoom in. Okay. This says, when the party first encounters Shala, she is not completely herself. Her time as part of the Time Devourer affected her. Okay, so one thing that's interesting. Okay, after being separated from the Time Devourer, she's just as lost as any other. Her memory also erased. So it's kind of assumed that Shala, like, erased Magus's mind at the end of whatever, when she said at the end of Chrono Trigger DS. But the truth is, everyone who encounters the Time Devourer forgets about it. If you think about it, was it Shala that erased his mind, or is it being by the Time Devourer? After being separated from, because she didn't erase Surge's mind, and he also forgot about everything. So my theory is that just being around the Time Devourer is gonna make you lose your mind and forget about it later. Not lose your mind, but you just forget about it. Anyway, she retains fragments and has more glimpses than anyone else of the truth about what happened with that. Shala has huge guilt issues plagued by nightmares of the Ocean Palace, the fall of Zeal, and everything after. She has visions of her journey to the darkness beyond time and the magnetic storm of 1006. This is her returning point, the storm, the Ocean Palace. She dwells there. Despite all that, Shala hasn't lost her underlying character. In 1999, which is actually like, it's actually, moreover, it is a, what's the word called? You know how Dinopolis got pulled into Chrono Cross? It is a time, what's the word for it? It's like a zone that was pulled into the break because the planet needed balance. It's a bubble-ish, it's an isolated, we'll just say it's a space-time in the break. But it's also an isolated, a sealed space-time in the break. It's like at the end of Chrono Cross, you see Shala standing on the street corner with, what's it called? The astral amulet in her hand. And then I really wish I could show you this video. I'm gonna find it. It's the stupid, it's like the end of Chrono Cross and no one even mentions how weird it is when, let's see, it might be in part 4. Which one is it in? It's in one of these bad boys. Let me pull the volume down.
Angel.
What are we looking for again, real quick? Oh, we're looking for the Shala thing. Oh yeah, the War of the Dyad. Oh hey, don't you? No, I'll get to that later. It's definitely in here. Was that it? Oh man, I'm sorry. My finger's hurting from doing that, honestly. My fingy hurts. Okay. What about this one? Here it is, here it is, here it is, here it is.
Many humans of the Singing
Okay, so
Mountain
here's
had
the Dragon
indeed
God.
invented their own version of the Dragon God.
Hold on, let me turn
After
on
the time
volume.
crash, fate
Oh,
makes her move,
loud.
making a play for the Dragon God.
Yes. So look at this. What is this? No one ever talks about this part. It's like, dude, I don't mind at all. Shala, you can borrow everything. I'm borrowing everything too. Just happy to pass it around. Okay. So you guys, let's watch this. Do 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 do. Oh shoot. I sang before my victory was complete. Okay, the ending of Chrono Cross depicts the battle between Fate and the Dragon God, also called the Warring Dyad. Oh, not yet. Only in this game they're called that. Fate wins this battle and subjugates the Dragon God. Okay, so that happened before. Great, now I have a mental image of Shala hiding under a magic cardboard box whenever that incident happens, as mentioned. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out all that interesting party stuff. We have to look at the Warring Dyad. So she's like in that time zone when that's happening. So you can go in there and they're fighting. This is her poem. Though Shala knows not directly of the gurus, she is very aware of the forces they represent. Oh, shoot. Let me pull the notes back up. Perfect. This is the wisdom Shala lays down to the party in her primary mindset, though she knows not the finer details of her past. She's trying to balance these forces in 1999, subconsciously acting out the function of all three gurus. She's kind of like a Mother Teresa type. She was like that in Zeal. However, she sees trouble. Can humans exist in harmony? This is from a YouTube commenter. These questions linger. Alright, so when the party encounters her, she explains why the Warring Dyad is destroying their world, but also lays down the reasons why humans were already out of sync with life, time, and reason. Though she protects people in an Algeti-style refugee lifestyle, she wonders if the War of the Jealous Gods is not a purification element and necessary for the planet. So she's got her own questions about stuff too. She was pulled into 1999 by Mother Brain's Time Refugee Initiative. This is all like way later. We don't really need to get into it now, but she basically ended up there right after Time Devourer, as shown at the end of Chrono Cross. Encountering her, Marl and the party explained to her what happened in Chrono Trigger, and she is sorry for not remembering. She says if she saved them before, it's because of her concern for all peoples, and she says she must have believed the party stood for the sacred principles of time, life, and reason, or were agents of them. She won't go with them now, but senses they are still on the side of balance and surrenders her astral amulet. That's a key item the party can take. But don't get me wrong, I mean, Shala joins the party later, for sure. The party can return later to recruit her. So yeah, I have a lot of interesting notes about her magic style and everything too. Shala will only join the party if, we haven't figured out the conditions yet for that, and the player returns with Chrono in the party. Shala witnessed Chrono's sacrifice, said his name after she sent his friends to safety after seeing him die. And the OG Chrono Trigger, of course. At the Ocean Palace, she opened a portal and sent them on their quest to find Balthasar and said his name again. So she said the name Chrono 2 times. Her sacrifice would be his sacrifice. Chrono's sacrifice was a big moment for her and helped her put to bed her own concerns that humanity was inherently bad. Seeing Chrono triggers her memories and shakes the dust off her bad attitude. Not bad, more like shakes the dust off her reticent? Is that a word? Where you're kind of hesitant? When the party finally recruits Shala, she's OP. She serves as a key to even living through higher difficulty zones. Yeah, so I was kind of thinking that she's just OP, like when you get her. And so then, if you don't recruit Shala or Magus in your party, you basically just will not have the strength for a long, long time to get into some of the harder parts of the map. It's all about getting to this point. It's all about getting to recruiting Shala. It's always been about that. You get Chrono, but it's extremely hard to get in and rescue her. You have to, what's the word? Right. Okay, I'm going to write that. That's good. A growing misanthropy, which is helped to be quelled, and by her adventures with the party. And that's why she needs Chrono. Whoops. To be recruited. Something like that. It doesn't have to be that cheesy. There can be many reasons. It's extremely hard to get in and rescue her, but then getting out. Oh yeah, this is it. It's hard to get into where she is, but getting out is super fun because now you have Shala and you can just wreck all these bad guys that were super challenging before. And also, keep in mind how that would feel if you're playing like, oh man, my notes have been on top of my other notes this whole time. Imagine in a Chrono Trigger style game when you're running from, you're basically choosing which enemies to fight. Like sometimes they jump into your path, but you're not taking any parties that you don't want. So you could kind of run into the zone where Shala is, and you'd be avoiding like encounters whenever possible because the enemies are just so strong there. But then after you get her, you're excited to encounter those enemies and beat the hell out of them with Shala. That's good game. That's good game development right there, baby. I got that note from a Metroid game, one of the Metroid games, where it's just like really hard to get in, but then super fun to get out because you're OP. She's a shadow type, but we've also kind of, shadow is kind of related to time. She's like a gravity type. Shadow is basically gravity, sort of, which we all know because of black hole and stuff. She's got extremely powerful magic which can affect time and space. Now, you can run around with Shala, dropping time bombs and being hella powerful. Unlock all the pink pyramid zones that you find. because like all these little pink triangles are in the break, and those are time zones that have been sealed up. And you can go into even more difficult parts of the game to level up with your other characters. Her entire culture was totally killed off because of Lavos. It's true. The sins of the mother. Let's get a new background. Okay, and then we'll talk about late game Shala. Shala or Shala? Which one do you guys say? Shala? That's how you say salad in Chinese. Shala. It's true. 我要喂you Shala. That was the first Chinese sentence that I ever learned, and it means I would like a tuna fish salad. Oh, here's some more. Perfect. Shala mechanics. She can transport you through time and space. Super helpful for pocket dimension quests. So basically, once you get Shala, you can sort of warp all over the map. You don't need time gates anymore. Side quested Shala, level up. Oh, Magus can do that too. After fully powered up by the Dark Moon Dragon side quest, she can summon. Oh, I was gonna get a new background. Shoot, sorry. At least I'll keep this one playing. So there's some images. Is the sound all the way off? Okay. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna turn that off. Okay, let's go back to the Shala. Shala. Nice. I think that's right. I mean, I guess you would know. After she's fully... She can summon the dragons. Oh, that's right. We were talking about summons last night. She can summon the dragons if they are split, as well as Lavos and other beings. Remember, Magus summoned Lavos once, so Shala can too. She can also drop enemies into random portals to nowhere and stuff. Bye! Leveling Shala up to the max. From child Luca on Opasa Beach after using the in Chrono Cross, child Luca on the beach says, as the palace collapsed around her, Princess Shala was sucked into a dimensional vortex along with the Mamma Machine. We know all this. Shala and Lavos became one, filled with the hatred and sadness of Lavos. Half of her mind became set on destroying all of existence. At the same time, the other half desired to save the universe. This is when the past and the future began to intersect and the world became divided in two. So Kid in Harl is basically a Dark Moon birth. That's what the Reptites call a... So when Dinopolis was pulled into the time zone by the planet, it's basically a ton of anti-annihilation energy that is balancing crazy time breaks. So that's what the Reptites called a Dark Moon event. Because the first time it happened to them, they got a new moon. So those are kind of known as Dark Moon events. And Shala's whole 1999 time space that gets landed in the break is one of those Dark Moon events. Essentially, her whole world got sucked in to balance all the crazy stuff that was happening in the break when it was being formed. Okay, she caused the raging magnetic storm, so we know she can do that. Before the destructive mindset could become dominant, Shala cloned herself and sent her copy into this dimension. While fate was down for just a moment, the split dragon gods briefly came together to create a seventh piece known to us as Harl, or Harley. This one seems like it would be a lot more like Harley since she looks like a Harley. Harlequin? Harlequin? We have Harl, Marl, Harley, Marley. Yeah, the time crashes are all, it's like all about the dragon god being super powerful and fate subjugating it to make these are the rules of the break. Basically, a ton of crazy time crashes happened before the game even started. And that's what formed the break. Here we go. Oh, this is talking about how she isolated that one part of... she isolated the Singing Mountain so that they would eventually come to build their own dragon god. Because since that happened in a dimension she was never part of, she doesn't really understand how to do it. So she had to let the demi-humans on Singing Mountain develop in their own petri dish sort of way so that they would make a dragon god. So then Fate goes in and she subjugates it. She beats it down. Harl's love for Surge. Harley, I'm going to call her Harley. Harley soon becomes despondent as any relationship with blah blah blah. Dark Moon Dragon loves Surge. She loves Surge because Shala loves Surge, and she's a version of Shala. Shala. That's why Kid loves Surge as well. Shala and Surge. Shala. Caesar Shala. Her feelings for Surge remain and give Frog, Chrono, and Surge the edge when facing it. Oh yeah, this is later, but if you take Surge to face the Dark Moon Dragon, you get an advantage because the Dark Moon Dragon loves him. It's not really an advantage, it just won't attack as hard, and it doesn't even know why. It doesn't even know that he loves him. She was merged into the Dragon God and destroyed by Surge as well, so in a way he rescued Shala and killed a version of her. Oh, interesting. You guys ever think about that? Oh wait, here's what they're doing the time breaks. Fate's going around just time crashing the heck out of her version of Zeal. Let's watch that again. So this is talking about how she becomes during this war with the Dragon God. By the way, the Dragon God doesn't always have to look like the one in Chrono Cross. That was stated to be a projection. So maybe that one looks like the crazier, realer version of the Dragon God. Do you see how weird that looks? So here comes huge Fate crashing through the sky. Unconscious love is a weird thing. So here's this huge dragon. That doesn't look like the Dragon God from the game, but you know what? It doesn't matter because that Dragon God was a projection. So, I mean, what is that? How are they going to throw that weird scene right at the end of Chrono Cross and not explain it or ever? It's just so out in left field. We have to use it. Okay. So this is her becoming the Vision Serpent, which is a name from Now that she can wield the power of the elements, she's going to time crash all of these zones. And so this is what forms the break. It becomes like a crazy... And also Balthazar is helping deal with this too. And the thing is, like, which zones would she want to time crash? Because she's powered by the frozen flame, she's an agent of Lavos, she would always be time crashing those time zones where Lavos succeeded. Like right before he was about to spawn, basically. So that gives you a great reason to go through the break in the video game and always have to deal with trouble when you get to the other side. Okay. Throughout the game, they know each other not. However, there is a hint of a deep connection, Shala and Surge. The Ultimania postulates that Shala was an arbiter of the frozen flame while it existed in Zeal, and that is how she came to bind with Lavos. Apparently, the Time Devourer needed enough power before it could reach maturity, and Surge would have been the final piece in the puzzle. Though this game would posit that Surge must not necessarily have been destined to merge with the Time Devourer, this shared arbiter connection may be the source of their bond. So they're both arbiters. They were both like weirdly going to be part of the Time Devourer potentially. So they sort of are like lovers from birth, but unconsciously. In the endgame, Shala and Magus end their journey by settling down together, hence the photo at the end of Chrono Cross. It's not necessarily a wedding photo. This is the most fitting resolution as they were never reunited. And that's only if you have, of course, like Magus side-quested in your party and Shala side-quested in your party, both not dead when you decide to run through a endgame cinematic generating battle. Shala can do magnetic storms when powered up. What would this do? Oh, this is it. This is finally what I was trying to remember to talk about. Shala's themes. Because of her tremendous guilt, Shala is one of the she's the one who benefits most from the theme of letting the past go, which is a big message of this game. Shala's mechanic. Okay, so that's what I was talking about before. Certain characters, Atropos. Hey, where'd my notes go? There we go. Atropos is one, even though you don't play with Atropos, but she's there and she's a character mechanic. Gasper is another one, and Shala. You can adjust the game properties from the dimensional vortex after beating Pico. You can set parameters for your new game plus and experiment. So after you recruit Shala, then you can really open up and have fun with the game by like setting up things before you begin a run. She's sort of like the custom mode for the game. After Shala is side-quested, she can set all the game conditions the player has unlocked so they may return to any point. She sends them off like she did in the Ocean Palace in Chrono Trigger if this happens. So how badass is that? Imagine you're like playing this game with all these scenarios that you can create and go to and stuff. And once you get Shala, then you can sort of identify one that you'd like to go to, and she just... I don't know the implications for that. They could be as simple as going to a different village across the map, or it could be like, can you also reset my game? And it's after the fight with the Vision Serpent, and I have Frog and Chrono in my party only. Something like that. That sounds like it might be not fun if you can have that much power, but who's to say? If you have Shala or powered up Kid, you can put these events into place. You can put events into place from the DBT and remove them on your game to affect future playthroughs. So basically, you've got a lot of power from the and once you defeat Pico, if you have Shala in your party, or if you get to the DBT. Yeah, exactly. Someone had the idea. One of the comments of the other videos was saying, "Okay, this is perfect. This is going to bring us right to the beginning of the game where I wanted to be." But pause. Perfect. So someone was telling me that like in what is it, Radiant History, you can see all the different timelines and stuff, and they suggested that that would be a cool idea for Chrono Break, and so Shala is kind of the key to that. How about these unused ideas from the Crimson Echoes collab fanfic with Project Deal? She's got a dagger that you can put gems in for different elemental effects. She's a trans-dimensional perfect goddess. And that's the end of our Shala notes today. But we do have some pictures and some sweet... Oh, do we? What happened after Chrono Cross? That's a... let's do some pictures of Shala first. Or let's just leave Shala there for... Oh, here's her side quest. Here's her level up. If you want to level her up, you can... How does it work? This side quest is how you level up Shala to her ultimate stage. As a result of Dalton's auction, the dragon god is splintered into plasma life forms. The Dark Moon Dragon is at unrest. The Dark Moon Dragon may have been split from the dragon god, and after much time in the darkness beyond time, might not have the form of Harley anymore, or she may resemble Harley but more powered up. The Dark Moon Dragon still has a fondness for Surge. Taking a party with Surge in it is the only way to win. Surge is the one who convinces the Dark Moon Dragon we aren't parasites on the planet. Surge gives her the same speech Balthazar gave him about fighting for the planet. Once this happens, the Dark Moon Dragon recognizes her progenitor, Shala, and blesses her with more power. In a trolly turn of events, it is Shala and Harley who merge, not Shala and Kid. How about that? Okay, let's talk about Chrono. Perfect. Okay, so in the Marl Princess Nadia opening sequence. Let's go through it real quick. You start a new game, you're gonna bust through the window. You go through the Fall of Guardia, you're fighting through, you go to this dungeon, and you go to the end of time, and then you run back to try to get Chrono, and what's wrong is now you are in 1005 Corrupted Keystone. Dalton already, all that bad stuff that Dalton did has been done it, and as Princess Nadia, you find this wall and a bunch of Lavos spawn. Okay? So what are you going to do? Well, in the last one, we talked about how she has kind of an adventure. She finds Robo, she finds Frog, then Frog leaves the party, then she has Robo and she goes to Gaia's navel and she finds out that Ayla's there, and then they go together through the time gate and they end up at the end of time, and then after they end up at the end of time, they can go two places. They can go to prehistory and level up their party, or they can go to 2300, which is not actually 2300, it is actually the break. And you cannot return from that one. But there are two more places that they can go. And we have not talked about those yet, and we are going to talk about them now. And those places are 1020 AD. Let's start with that, and then we'll get into Chrono. Let me find the notes here. Let's put... Here we go. Maybe this one. Okay. So we're going to go to 1020. Ooh, this one's way better. All right, the heck with this. Let's just talk about Chrono. So basically there's this wall, like I mentioned. And you can't get through that wall with Marl. There's Lavos spawn in there and you can't get through. But later on, when you come back with Robo, he just hacks through the wall. So you can get into 1020 if you come back with Robo, which is pretty much what's always going to happen. And then you can find Chrono. Let's find the notes. Properties. I mean, these are definitely... All my main notes are right here. Perfect. Time zone. Okay. And it needs to be on the top. All right, so if you go to this time zone, it's called chapter title, Gunpowder and Smoke. Humans are such fragile, disjointed, imperfect things. Love, hate, life, death. Time zone, 1020 AD. If the player travels to the present from the end of time, they will find that the area, specifically the walls, look much older and the Lavos spawn a bit larger. Passage to the outside world is now possible due to Robo's ability to interface with the simple computer which controls the door. At this point, Marl is still on the Dalton Corrupted Keystone timeline where the Day of Lavos occurred in 900 AD and the world is post-ruin. Only a handful of survivors are left. Not totally true, but not so. It's a brown, desolate world. In a post-Lavos world, the party encounters a society torn by war over resources, and everyone is under the influence of darkness. All the towns here, like Truce, Medina, and Por, are actually kind of like roving tribal territories of the Middle East. There are small settlements, but mostly towns and tribes, roving Mad Max style. I'm going to go ahead and restate that as the ancient Middle East. A roving band of marauders called the Dragon Tank controls a tiny portion of the northern landscape in apocalyptic Xenon. Xenon is the main continent, in case anyone forgot. That's not big enough. Let's make it bigger. They are aimless, gruff, and concerned only with becoming stronger than other gangs and finding worthy fighters to join their gang. This group of battle-hardened warriors is led by Pierre, who has a strong sense of justice. In Chrono Trigger, he was Chrono's defense lawyer. So he's the boss of Dragon Tank, Pierre. And where is that? Where are my gifts, people? I have everything set up before the show, and then the show comes and I can't find anything. Why? Oh, it's here it is. There's our boy, leader of the Dragon Tank. We once knew him as Chrono's lawyer, but he is now the leader of the Dragon Tank, which is like a gang that runs sort of around our old neighborhood, but on this timeline. Fritz, or Pierre, is the Dragon Tank's merchant. In Chrono Trigger, Fritz was the shopkeeper's son Chrono freed before the Dragon Tank fight. So yeah, we just have like a couple callbacks to refresh? Refresh what? What should I refresh? Is my computer laggy? gonna keep talking. Let me check the stream. Checking the stream. All right. Cool. So this is all tongue-in-cheek. I'm going to put this little... These 3 dots mean this is only ideas, and I'm not sure if I need to edit them or not. They might not be cool. They might be good. They might. Pierre agrees to let the player's party join the dragon tank if they can beat their best man in battle. And of course, the dragon tank's best man is an immensely strong dude with fiery red hair, a less friendly version of Chrono. Keep in mind, he's also, because this is 1020 AD, he is 17 years older than the Chrono that we know. He may also be referred to from here out as Old Chrono. So this goes with the theme of letting the past go behind. Even though you can find Chrono, it's not even Chrono as we knew him is gone until much later. Spoiler alert, you can get into the original. Even though like this is officially the Chrono that ours became, you can also access the old Chrono later. It's right here in the notes, people. It's right here in the notes. Where does it say? Where's the character? Let's see. Oopsie. I can't find it. Oh well. If Marl is in the party, she tries to reconnect with Chrono, obviously. But he shows no recognition. Yeah, old man Chrono with Luminaire. Oh, well, this Chrono actually doesn't know magic yet. He is like way more badass than our original Chrono because he's older and he's grown up in a post-apocalyptic Dave Lavos kind of thing. But he doesn't know magic yet. But he can learn it, of course. If Marl's in the party, she tries to reconnect with Chrono, but he shows no recognition before starting up a fight. For now, Marl's Chrono from the Fall of Guardia is pretty much gone. This Chrono grew up in a post-Dalton timeline in a world where the Day of Lavos occurred in 900 AD. He's much tougher, and given all the terrible things he's seen, well within his rights to remain the unspoken silent type. So he gets to maintain the silent protagonist treatment, but this time it's because he's sort of got severe PTSD or he's just lived a very hard life and he doesn't like to talk. But he's even more badass in this one because he's just really focused a lot more on fighting. From his reaction, Marl is forced to face the facts that Chrono probably never met her on this timeline. Here we go. This Chrono is not magically powered, and also this old Chrono knows how to use guns. One of the kids in Chrono Cross says even angels lose their way. Here we can see how Chrono could have grown up to be a much darker person given a different set of circumstances, aka Lavos destroyed the world. Beating old Chrono at this point is not an easy task. It is much easier if you have Frog or the Masamune, which is hint hint what happens if you go to 700 AD. If the party defeats old Chrono, aka fights to a standstill, not really defeats, they travel with the dragon tank while fighting other gangs of the time and building their skills. But Chrono fights only as a guest character for now. Yeah, and as I mentioned last night, guest characters are like probably a few more levels than you, but you can't control them. But whereas like the guest character Luca goes around and sleeps a lot of the enemies with Hypno Wave, then this Chrono basically just like kills everything before you can even get a chance to. But remember, he's not magically powered. Yet. If the player loses against Old Chrono, they are sent away and told to stay out of the north. And that is the rest of this mission is out for this playthrough. It's sort of like, this is a great example to talk about like permadeath of choice paths. So, you know, like in this run, if you lose that fight with him there, then you just can't recruit him. And you're going to have to restart the game and play New Game Plus if you're actually interested in recruiting Chrono. And you better get prepared before you face him the next time, because he doesn't play. Okay, other gang names in the region include Malbranch, Wraith, and Octobino. These are names that did not get used in Chrono Trigger 1 of enemies. Alright, so other places you can go in 1020 AD include the Endless Forest. In 1020 AD, Fiona's Forest is gone again. So actually it's another sand wasteland. The battle with Guardia created a need for many weapons, so most of the trees in Lavos in these woods were destroyed, plus the Day of Lavos. Yeah, in this timeline, it's really more about the apocalypse that wiped out all the trees. There's a ferry between... Let's read more about Old Chrono before... I don't want to go to the rest of this yet. I just want to talk more about Chrono. And I want to get a picture of Chrono on the screen. Hey. I wonder if Chrono developed his slash line of abilities as a consequence of what? A consequence of what? Of him also using guns? I would be into that. But he had the slash when in a world where he didn't have guns as well. Okay. Old Chrono details. And let's get to the graphics. I'll do some graphics too. Where is a picture of Chrono? I'm dying here. I really need 3 monitors. That's my conclusion. Let's put a picture of Chrono up. Okay. Old Chrono is not interested and does not know who Marl is. Although they can eventually recruit Old Chrono, the moral of this story is that ultimately the Chrono they knew is gone. It's a hard pill to swallow, but that was the original intent. And the theme is letting the past go, but also you can get the Chrono that we know later on, so it's not a big deal. This encounter presents the player with a hard and fast example of one of the themes of the game: we should let the past go. Even though Chrono is here and will eventually be recruitable, he has, in a way, still been lost. This echoes the Masato Kato's original intention that Chrono remain dead after his sacrifice during Chrono Trigger. He never speaks as before, having grown up in a post-Day of Lavos world. Chrono has a good reason to remain a silent protagonist. This time he's just seen too much. Over the course of Chrono Break, being around the crew kinda softens him back up, transforming him back into a version of the Chrono we almost recognize from Chrono Trigger. At some point, someone is like, wow, everything he must have seen, once they figure out that he's from like a timeline where the Day of Lavos happened. At one point, he goes batshit crazy and kills a ton of reptites, or it's just referenced. And this is a shout out to the work on Crimson Echoes, the Chrono Trigger that was made before Chrono Trigger sequel, where he like Chrono kind of does like an Anakin Skywalker did to the Sand People, where he just flips out and kills a bunch of reptites. So that's a meme that we can put in the story. Old Chrono can use guns too. Recruiting old Chrono out of 1020 AD. What are the techniques? Chrono's not interested in going with the party unless they recover the epoch from 900 AD. That's not it. Unless they defeat... No, he doesn't give it. He doesn't care about anything but defeating the Octobino, which is another gang. If the player takes down the Octobino, old Chrono will join the party. Or in the New Game Plus, the new party can show him a battle of the gods destroying 1999, and that gets him going. If you have like, yeah. But the condition for that would be that you need to travel to 1999 first. So you can't do that in the first playthrough. You cannot get him that way. You have to beat the Octobino. Of living post-apocalypse is a way to differentiate the main Chrono and the dark future Chrono, where Chrono's lightning was more representative of his youth. When for old man Chrono would be more wistful and represent a longing for freedom beyond the hell he was born into. Dude, that is badass. I am going to screenshot that. Come on, man. Sweet. So his whole character would be... His whole character arc has got to be about a wistful representation, longing for a freedom beyond the hell he was born into. But he's still a lightning type, right? He becomes a lightning type later, that is. He's always a native. Okay, so that's awesome. We finished the old Chrono part. Okay. Now, let me organize and go to the next thing. Fritz can go. What should we talk about next? We talked about that. Should we finish up the... What do you guys want to talk about next? We can talk about anything. You choose. I'm going to clean up. You choose the next topic because I am confused about where to go. Okay. That's cool. I can figure it out. I think if I start taking things away from my stack, then I will see something to talk about. Right now, I just want to talk about how sweet this statue is. Dope. Imagine. Okay, so let's talk about the characters. We got Marl, Robo, Ayla. What happened to Ayla? I would love to talk about that. Please let me talk about that. Let's talk about that. The Chrono Egg. I did not make this intro, by the way. This was made by the people who were going to do... Who is this? I've got the... I got the credits somewhere. Yeah, Old Man, Chrono, and Marl, like, they become party members, but they don't, like... They don't love each other like before. However, you can rescue that Chrono. Don't worry. That Chrono's still alive, too. Oh, yeah. Maybe it was CT Resurrection. That's right. Okay, so let's talk about the beginning of the game then. You start with Marl, and you pick up... Oh, so Ayla was in... when Dalton came back to prehistory, she stood up to him, and she got basically... She can't stand up to his hypertech weapons, so she got sent to... like her mom told her about... What's it called? Her mom told her about the time gate at Gaia's navel. So that's where she went. And then she encounters Marl and... Still cleaning up. Still cleaning up. How do people do this so fast? How do people stream so fast? I don't get it. Okay, perfect. This is what we want. That looks cool, but we don't need it. Okay. What's going on here? Where are these guys at? Okay. Let's do the Ayla notes. This time I'm determined to have notes and a picture. I think I need to take a break. I'm getting confused. Basically, Ayla got like thrown out of town. She wasn't strong enough to stand up to like Dalton and his futuristic stuff. So, oh, I know what we can talk about. Let's talk about if you are with Marl at the end of time, you need to go to 2300 and defeat the Vision Serpent, right? We talked about that before. But the problem is the Vision Serpent... All right. I so cannot believe how hard this is to find the files I'm looking for suddenly. Like what? Okay, perfect. Let's talk about Storygate, the Battle of Zeal. Perfect. Finally. I hope you guys are still there. That took forever. My bad. Okay. So, if you take Marl to 2300, you have to cross through the dimensional strikes. And you have to beat the Vision Serpent. Yes, Kino made it. Like when you I guess I'm just assuming that you saw the other videos, but basically you can recruit Ayla and a whole ton of her tribe members, including Kino and Leah and whatever. There's like 40 characters in this game, but most of them are Ayla's people. And that's just so you can have a bunch of little parties and trick things out and have exploration, stuff like that. Anyway, learning that 2300 actually is the break is the big revelation and basically the big build up to the first major story arc of the game. They are fighting in the 2300 portion of the break, but this information is not discovered until they break free of the cross-dimensional strike zone. So in 2300 there's a singularity, and the singularity would totally look something like this, but darker. This is a really sunny day. So you're like kind of headed towards the singularity, and then shimmering through the other side you can see the Citadel, Pico's Citadel out there. So this is sort of what it would look like. But anyway, they're trying to get there. It's only after the successful Battle of Zeal, which is defeating the Vision Serpent. Oh man, defeating the Vision Serpent, aka splitting the Dragon God and Fate apart, that the player learns the true scope of the world within the break. Those weren't trans-dimensional strikes as Dalton's people had claimed. It's actually just on the border of their land, as they have already been integrated into the break. It's then revealed that the overworld is truly revealed, the space between the pocket dimensions where OG Luca lives. The break. Getting into the break with the bike is fine, and the player can fight their way all the way to the Citadel and defeat the Vision Serpent. So if you get the bike in 2300, it makes it easier. Where would Fate be in the break? Although Fate is a decentralized computer, the Dragon God projection, which forms part of the Vision Serpent, is not. It has a physical location and it can be attacked. Getting the Epoch and flying directly to the Vision Serpent is easy, but defeating the Vision Serpent without a Masamune is very difficult, but not impossible. This gets to the whole point of my story, baby. The whole point of those extra 2 time zones that you can go to is to recruit anyone who was ever wielded the Masamune, and that includes Frog, Surge, and Chrono, or you can get all 3, aka the Massa Boys. Da, da, da. Booyah. Okay. Taking just one massive, so basically if you're in truth, you can recruit all 3 of these guys from those 2 time zones. Taking just one massive boy to the Enhasa ruins. Okay, I'll talk about Frog in a minute. Yeah. With the cleansed Glenn. With the cleansed Masamune, we'll net the Epoch. This is a side quest. Side quest. If you do that, it goes way easier to get to the Vision Serpent. Taking on the Vision Serpent, you only need one of 3 Masamune boys and the pendant to get to the Epoch version Gato. This is not confirmed. The Neo Epoch from the Pocket Dimension can be gotten earlier. Okay, definitely not confirmed. This is not confirmed to be how it works. Frog and or Surge or Chrono, not old Chrono. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Let's not look at that yet. The Battle of Zeal is after... Nope. It's the point where you enter the break from Marl's journey. Yes. By the time Marl arrives in the break, Pico is rooted in the darkness beyond time, so he's indifferent to Marl. The Vision Serpent has absolute control over the break. The Vision Serpent knows that there is an outstanding variable thanks to the Bound Watchman chasing Luca to the darkness beyond time earlier. Marl was the last outstanding X factor in time and space, or whoever would be out there because of Luca's time egg. Therefore, the Vision Serpent has been looking for her. It heard news of her from Bound Watchman, so the Vision Serpent is prepared. It was not prepared for any of the Massa boys, though. That's not exactly true. Basically, since the party arrives at the Citadel, where the Fate Super... That's basically where Fate, Vision Serpent, is based. The battle is on right away. The Fate is made of Dreamstone, so it is really hard to defeat her without Dreamstone equipment to be gotten arduously. It's not easy to come by in prehistory grind level. Or you can bring someone with a Masamune, and those people include Glenn, Surge, and Chrono. The Vision Serpent completely lays on the likely first playthrough. Yeah, other people have held the Masamune as well. It's true. And I will get into that in a second, actually. That's sort of like really related to what happened with Frog. So just to separate again, to recruit, before the Vision Serpent battle, you're at the end of time with Ayla, Marl, and Robo, pretty much. And you can go to prehistory and grind up. You can go to 2300 aka the break and start the Vision Serpent battle, or you can go to 1020 AD and recruit old Chrono and Surge, or you can go to 700 AD and get Frog, aka Glenn. The reason he has not transformed into a human form is I don't really know. Just because he's got to be a frog in this game. That's just... I guess I do know. I guess in a world that Dalton ruined things, he would have been turned... He probably never would have been turned into a frog in the first place, really. That is just another example of why we're going to stick with the silliness factor. Let's not take ourselves too seriously here. It's okay if he's still a frog. We can figure it out later. He's got to be a frog. You kidding me? He's like this sweet... badass, old frog. Do I have to get the picture out? I have to get the picture out now. Where is it? I'm going to keep reading this real quick. In the likely first playthrough, the Vision Serpent completely lays waste to the party. Basically, that's a hard battle to beat with just cavemen, unless you have at least one Massa boy. If you ditch Marl and Robo, you can take Ayla into the break to the Vision Serpent fight alone. There's a crazy level of difficulty, but it is possible. You can beat Fate with Ayla. You don't even need Ayla herself for this, just 3 tribespeople. This goes into the theme of total freedom for this game. Like, say everyone in your party dies, but you still have some cavemen left. No-name cavemen. You just play with them, and that's how the story went down. Who's to say? If your guys are hella leveled up, but it's extremely difficult and not just likely on a first run. I like that. Maybe Dalton turned him into a frog. But I don't know. It seems like it's cool, but why would it just seems too coincidental, but maybe Dalton did it. Because there are like themes that repeat in time and space. We already did kind of talk about that. And he is a high level threat because of his wielding of the Massa Moon. Okay, let's go to the notes I had on that. (700) AD. Okay, and this chapter would be called Where the Dragons Sleep. Where the Dragons Sleep. There would also be evidence of their victory over Guardia. Dalton eliminated the royal family and installed his own bros in 620. Consult Part 5 for consistency. If the player returns to the Middle Ages, they will find that 2 years have passed in the blink of an eye. That's questionable. The only options are to return to the grind in the Endless Forest and re-explore the shrine. Explore Dorino or head into Poor to charge the pendant from the Mammon Machine and try to attack Dalton. If you go into the forest, the party will encounter strong monsters and also the bodies of many fallen Porian guard. Now, who caused them to fall? Might I ask you? Who did that? But, let's continue learning about this mystery. The player cannot take the ferry to El Nido again as Poor has swooped in and punished Dorino hardcore for their resistance in the earlier chapter of the game when you went through there with Marl. The whole town is in ruin and passage from there is impossible. In Poor. When visiting Poor, Marl finds that many people are being driven faint by the corrupted power of the Mammon Machine. The reach of this is surprising. It must be truly powerful this time, Robo says, and this time the player finds the slain figures of many Porian troops, and anti-mystic fervor is at a high. NPCs tell of a particular fiend. Here we go, this is our first clue. A particular fiend which has been through the area and destroyed large swaths of their army, which they are rebuilding by demanding recruits from Dorino and the surrounding regions of Poor. The party is able to fight through Poor and find Cedric, the regent, which Dalton has left in charge, slain by a shrouded figure. So yeah, Cedric, also a name from Crimson Echoes. Slain by a shrouded figure. Who killed him? The figure turns out to be none other than Frog. After Marl's departure, so remember, Frog stayed behind to save her and Robo and let them get away in the tutorial chapter, in the opening chapter. But after he did that, he slayed many a Porian troop, and the Massamoon became drenched in so much blood that it corrupted him. So if you go into the 700 timeline, you will find yourself dealing with a corrupted Frog, because he killed so many people when you left to protect you that the same way the Masamune got tainted before, it became drenched in so much blood. If the player engages Frog, they will have a very difficult battle in which A, they are game overed, straight up kill, or B, they kill Frog and claim the corrupted Masamune. They kill him? What? They knock his ass out? They defeat Frog and claim the corrupted Masamune. Not yet. I guess they kill him because you've got to have options though, because you're not going to get the corrupted Masamune away from Frog. Anyway, the point is, if you want to recruit Frog and save him from the curse, you have to uncurse the Masamune. And another place you can go is the Giant's Claw in the Middle Ages. In 700 AD, it's sort of flooded. It's to the northeast of El Nido. Can make a good quest there for some nice equipment. An island off the coast of Koras houses the entire Tyranno lair, location of the Reptites in prehistory. Preserved in its caverns are monsters which treasure the rainbow shell. You need a very strong group to go in there. It's also the place to gaining access to an advanced arms stash from prehistory imported by Dalton. It's very, very old and not in good working condition, but a good source of tech and gems, tech gems. The Black Omen. The Black Omen would be very much alive and well during 700 AD. It's even boardable, but the player finds Dalton has already been through there and wrecked the Queen, which was in part 2 of the backstory videos that I did in November of 2020. The player will also see the distant form of the Black Omen base in the distant ocean, although passage is not yet available. This is Dalton's headquarters now. It is heavily fortified, but access is possible. You just need a charge pendant to enter. That is if you can get in there. And I would like to refer you to the trailer which inspired this series to show you a picture of that. Let's go to the movies. All right. Here it is. This is by Simon Anderson, Simon S. Anderson, aka Snake Pixel on Twitter. I do have a Twitter to answer your question, by the way. It's Tape 500. All right, so this would be oh. Stop. Pause. I had it. Oh, this is the music. My bad. Okay, so let's run through the trailer now that we have the backstory established. This is Luca and Janice going to defeat. She's training him up in Omega Flare so she can take him to lead an assault on what's it called? On Pico. And this is a Kingdom of Zeal where, like, you see, it's also technologically based. And so we're going through the forest and the pendulum. This is when we're going into the weird time-broken citadel to face Pico. It's all the same mission, basically, which is explained in part 4 of this series. This is all about, like, how the Dragon God is still kind of released. And then, boom. Okay, here it is. So check this out. This is what 700 AD looks like. And here on the ocean, you have the remains of the Black Omen, which this time did not phase out of existence, which I'd have to get around to explaining later if I knew the answer why. But, yes. Okay, so which notes were we doing? time zone 700. Okay, so in the Black Omen, the player will also see the distant form of the Black Omen base in the ocean, which the notes are on top of right now. Boop. This is Dalton's headquarters for now. It is heavily fortified and access is possible, but you need a charge pendant to enter. In the Black Omen, the party discovers Dalton has disappeared, taking the epoch with him. He's not faceable. He's a coward. He's not even in this time zone. El Nido and Chronopolis. There's also strong blockade to El Nido now. It's inaccessible. In 700, Chronopolis is fully functioning with the hard light hologram skeleton crew that we saw in Chrono Cross, but El Nido is also heavily guarded by Dalton's troops. They don't want any interference in the timeline. And they're doing a ton of research there. So you can save Frog by... You need to go into El Nido and get the Einlanzer. It's the only way to uncorrupt the Masamune. If the player brings the Einlanzer from 1020 to 700 and cleanses the Masamune, Frog will join the party. Unless he's dead, in which case the player will have the corrupted Masamune and be able to cleanse it and take the Masamune without Frog. Remember, everyone, we are talking about total freedom. This is possible. No one wants that to happen, but hey, just because someone's dead doesn't mean you can't take the sword off them and go kill a supercomputer made out of Dreamstone with it. Okay, so that's all the notes on 700 AD. That's good. Hopefully you recruit Frog. Or you kill him, and you can get either a clean Masamune or a corrupted one. The freedom is up to you. It's really up to you. Chrono Break is a living game. Which means, well, in this case, it means that, yeah, you just have the freedom to do whatever. If a character dies, that doesn't mean you can't do something. It just means you can't bring them. Let's see. Massa and Moon. I guess we could talk about, like, one of the ways you can charge the pendant. I think we'll just let's go back to this Battle of Zeal note. Okay, so it is possible to get, if you have Chrono, Frog, and Surge recruited from 1020 AD, it is possible to get a version of the Epoch, and you don't need the bike. You can fly through to the Vision version of the Epoch, and you don't need the bike. You can fly through to the Vision Serpent and bust them up real good. And that is what this picture is all about. So we've basically explained it all now, except for everything up to the Warring Dyad. So I guess we can, before I go to the Warring Dyad and what happens to Shala and everyone, I'm going to make some graphics to explain all this stuff better next time. I'll make a really sweet graphic display and we'll go from beginning to end really quick. I promise. You can get any sort of airplane from 700. There's tons of airplanes there. If you get the Epoch from Dalton beforehand or get the anti-proton engine from Minhasa for the new Epic, you can more easily pass the dimensional strike bottleneck. This is not confirmed. Actually, it is confirmed. In a likely first playthrough, by this time, Fate has powered up significantly on the Frozen Flame and subjugated the Dragon God. The crew gets beat back pretty hard. It's a struggle. Most of Ayla's squad goes down. Oh yeah, that's one thing I wanted to mention. Is that, like, you can keep trying. Most of Ayla's squad. So I guess you can get many bikes. As many bikes as you can take, you can acquire, and you can bring to the fight with Vision Serpent, which is a multi-party battle. Oh, there's my Ayla notes right there. Oh, it's just it's potential names of some of the cavemen. The tribe: Toruku, Jado, Kasu, Diku, Fabian, Kesu, Raiku, Rantsu, Babu, Pita, Tao, Biku, Ho, Kino, Leah. And these are unused names from Final Fantasy VI. And from Crimson Echoes, Ayla's line: Law of the planet, win and live, lose and die, no change law. Awesome line. That's all the Ayla notes there are. That's kind of funny. We mainly talked Ayla before. Okay. Is there anything else we need to talk about? No. Now that I've explained it all, we're going to go hard. Oh, let's see. Oh, the Einlanzer. Let's talk about that for a minute. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. The Einlanzer must be used to cleanse the Masamune and get Old Frog. That's right. He's basically Old Frog. So where is the Einlanzer? Yes, that's right. Ayla basically is just, she's like, exactly. Well said. Well said. Because she's the OG. Cavemen don't care when or where they are. They're just gonna, like, rage. And Hasa Ruins. The Einlanzer is in the Anhasa Ruins caves below Viper Manor, a relic from an ancient battle in another world or time. Maybe. That's what they say. Is that where it is? It was used in Chrono Cross. In Dragon's Tears, Chrono Cross... Oh, this is about key items. The Chrono Cross was used. It's gone. Not in this game. The Dragon Tears were used to make the Chrono Cross. Dragon Tears, not in this game. The Einlanzer. Glenn's copies are the only remnants of the dimensional split. He's not sure how he got them. Where is Glenn? Where did he put them? Did he put them at Dario's grave? Does a blending of the Einlanzer need to occur? What if Glenn faced the dime? Oh, this is it. In this canon, Glenn went with Surge to face Time Devourer, and so lost his memories too. This is not Frog Glenn, this is Chrono Cross Glenn. Game mechanics. What's the function of the Einlanzer if the party possesses it? There are 2 versions, but it's not a cross-dimensional tool. Is it a way to get to the darkness beyond time, a la Chrono Cross? Yes! Einlanzer has the power to dispel the evil of the Masamune. It is used in Chrono Break to save Frog from the Masamune's corruption. The Einlanzer was crafted by Dragonians. Dude, that fills in so many answers for me, because I was kind of curious where you get that. So it can be found in Nhasa ruins in 1020 AD. Perfect. Hello. Which can be accessed via the gear room in Viper Manor. The Einlanzer was crafted by Dragonians, same as the Dragon's Tear, so Dragonians knew about its dimension shifting. They knew about dimension shifting and Chrono Cross creating items. They knew how to create items which would create a Chrono Cross or a Chrono Cross effect if an item from 2 adjacent dimensions was reunited. The Einlander, Dragon's Tear, / all Dragonian artifacts retain a dimensional signature or residue. Notice these are question marks. I don't know. One of the Einlanzers is hidden in Viper Manor, the same as it was in Radical Dreamers in the gear room. That's not true. Is hidden below Viper Manor in the ruins of Nhasa. Not stated. I don't know. It can be accessed via the gear room, aka Radical Dreamers. Shout out. Is this the one Kid and Guile retrieve? So Guile basically paired up with Kid, by the way. Naturally. The Einlanzer becomes a dimensional transfer tool and the end game. Okay? I don't know about that. It definitely is a way to access the DBT, Darkness Beyond Time. Maybe. The reset function of the Einlanzer. The Chrono Cross can only be created by the pieces of things from alternate dimensions, the Dragon Tier fragments. However, the Einlanzer exists from both dimensions as well. Unifying dimensions may need to happen again. This is the part I'm nervous to get into. I don't really think so. That's kind of too much. This is how the character gets into the ultimate break point and unifies both parties for the attack on the Citadel. Forget about all this. But I will say, this definitely needs to sort of go away. It needs to be translated. to something better. And up here, and this also needs to be translated. It's like if you're getting close to the ideal conditions to complete the game, then you'll kind of see Chrono's cat start to show up. That's my theory. Like the Chrono Cross, okay, we read all that. Did we? It may be used to retrieve all the former characters from the previous game if used in the temporal vortex, aka the Darkness Beyond Time. Okay, so this is a way to Einlanzers are used to retrieve characters from previous runs that died. Game mechanic. Chrono Cross was obliterated in Chrono Cross. Getting a new one? What split the dragon tears? We're not getting a new Chrono Cross in this game. There are no Chrono Crosses in this game. But there is an Einlanzer. There's actually two. Okay, in Chrono Cross, the Einlanzer is a holy sword forged by the Dragonians. Its origins are unclear. Presumably after the Dragonians became extinct, the Akasha Dragoons acquired the sword and their strongest warriors wielded it. Found at Homeworld. This is all details that are not super important at the moment. Why the Einlanzer is special or sacred is unknown. It may perhaps be imbued with elemental power given to the Dragonians during the time of its forging. In Radical Dreamers, it's discarded. Kid says she might sell it. Okay, so there's two Einlanzers in this game, and that either one of them can cure the Masamune, and the other one is in the possession of Kid and Guile, which totally gets into how you find those two characters as well. Okay. I don't think we have to get into this now. Interesting. The Einlanzer can be used to retrieve all of one's former characters back on New Game Plus. To do this, acquire the... No! We're not doing Chrono Cross. We're doing Einlanzer. Then travel to the Temporal Vortex by way of the Hydra Marshes. The Einlanzer will react strangely in Sprig's house and add all the former playthrough characters to the roster. This can be done to get Harley back, provided the last playthrough was completed while she was in the party and Surge was still in Lynx's form. Dang, I have no idea what that means. Let's just say... I don't know about that one. Okay. I think, let's see. Oh, this is special character functions. Certain characters' in-story abilities provide the player with special game mechanics once they are recruited. Gasper can see into timelines and provide the player with clues about which side quest will provide what result. Shala can teleport you anywhere around the map, and she can set up your conditions of a New Game Plus for you. Oh, here we go. The Anhasa Ruins. We are just burning through the notes tonight. This is going to be the last one, though. I got to go soon. So if you go to 1020 AD, you can get down into the Anhasa Ruins. The ruined underground city of Anhasa. It's a huge cavern where they find a massive stash of Dreamstone. This is the gravitic anomaly referenced in Corrine Cross that drew the builders of Chronopolis to the area. After we discovered an unusual gravitational field in the barren Sea of El Nido, we built several artificial islands and established Chronopolis. That's what one of the researchers says. So basically, they were sensing all of the Dreamstone in this huge stash in the underground, forgotten, ruined dungeons of Enhasa. Boop. And it looks like that. Marl comments on how creepy it was to be in Hassa with its strange moral ground, or she remembers. She would have to say it out loud for the player to know what she's thinking. So many people were sleeping their life away while... Oh, okay, so we can put this in quotes. I do want her to say something about... So many people were sleeping their life away while people lived in poverty below. And then you can find Doreen. Excuse me. So many Zelians turned to the loftiest art form of them all, dreaming. The dreamers of Enhasa were eradicated by Lavos. Oh, this is from a pretty cool article, I think, that someone wrote. Everywhere you go in Zeal, you get the distinct impression that all sorts of people are just about to lose it. In the City of Dreams, an enlightened one tells you that you can live out your dreams, but at what cost? That statement is not to be ignored because it implies that Doreen has doubts about the nature of the entire Zelian culture. Massa and Moon, or Moon, are dream creatures and thus can live there. Massa and Moon and Doreen are dreams made real from the siphoned power of Lavos. This quote is not exactly correct. They are denizens of Zurvan, the Dream Sea, and Dreamstone is a dimensional lubricant which allows them to occupy our material plane. Okay, so I am not making all this stuff up, by the way. I rarely make stuff up because I think it's a risky move. Like, you're never going to have fans totally appreciate something brand new, so that's why I tried to name everything based on stuff that was not used in Chrono Trigger. So that I'm not like... That means that it's probably imbued with some of the original, good stuff, if it's something they didn't use from before. But the reason I'm telling you that is because I want to show you Zurvan. It is on the wiki and everything. It's described as like a... It's not even the darkness beyond time. It's just like the place where dreams are and junk. And Shala talks about it at the end of Chrono Cross, I think. Anyway, this is the true home place of Massa, Moon, and Doreen. That's my theory. That's not confirmed. Anyway, Doreen is there in the Enhasa ruins alone. Here, let's take the Infinite Sea of Dreams and minimize... Oh. Bye-bye, Zurvan. You go small now. Okay, Zurvan's going into the corner. Doreen is there alone in Enhasa. She gives the party the first info about the greater threat looming behind the scenes ever since antiquity in Chrono Trigger. Doreen reminds them about what was happening in the Dream City shortly before Lavos destroyed the continent. So this is going all the way back to the original Chrono Trigger game. She's talking about the events that happened there. Something was coming through. She speculates that something was speaking to the dreamers of Enhasa from beyond time. Crepe. These sorts of dreams were affecting everyone in the city and corrupted her brothers. Melchior didn't create Massa, Moon, or Doreen. The dreamstone he used to create the blades drew the brothers to it. So that's important to recognize. Massa, Moon, and Doreen are dream creatures who live in Zurvan, and Dreamstone is a dimensional lubricant, and when Melchior built weapons from Dreamstone, he built the Massa Moon, and it drew Massa and Moon to it. And I don't know if I like this part, so I'm going to put the quotes around it, but it says, Doreen confirms that she was bound to the royal pendant in the same way her brothers bonded to the Massa Moon. So then, if the player does this, Doreen charges the pendant and teaches the party how to reverse time a little bit. Which, like I said, sounds, in my opinion, a bit cheesy, but it was in the official description of what it was meant to do in the first place for Kid. So we're going to put that game mechanic in because remember, this game is hard. And permadeath and stuff, it's helpful to have a time reversing pendant if it's charged. Okay, so mechanic, Massa Moon and Doreen in Inhasa. We are not getting our Zurvanese info dump right now. Massa and Moon and Doreen sent Surge back to the orphanage by focusing their power on Kid's time egg. They are able to achieve a similar feat after the Einlanzer completely cleanses the Master Moon or the Massa Moon. They tell the party they won't like the result, but there's a way to fix the mess that happened after the Battle of Zeal if the player went through and died. This is totally... They warn the player that the result is undoable. Irreversible. So whatever can happen if you bring that down here. Oh, it's cleansing the Master Moon. Cleansing the Massa Moon is irreversible. And it's okay to take that, it's okay to take a corrupted Massa Moon, equip it on anybody, and then cure them later with the Einlanzer. Basically, it's the equivalent of if you take the corrupted Massa Moon from Frog by killing him, you can use it corrupted. You will essentially be in a berserked state and eventually die. So that's another method of doing this game. If you want to just take the corrupted Massa Moon and not heal it up with the Einlanzer, be my guest. Speedrunners, you choose. But you cannot get Berserk Frog to come with you because he's just not going to do that. You have to kill him. Then you can give the corrupted Massa Moon to old Chrono, old creepy Chrono, and let him destroy everything super fast. But that is just messed up. Okay, tell you what. I'm going to stop it there because I'm super tired. This episode was a half hour longer than the other ones. That's cool. All right. Zooming out on Zurvan. Does anyone have any questions before I go to bed? I'll be back in less than a week. I'm going to get very organized for the next one. I really enjoyed everyone being in the chat tonight and playing along with me. Goodbye.